Hello. Last time we talked about inner healing and conscious healing. Today we are continues to catch up that subject. When we talk about inner healing, when we talk about conscious healing, the most important thing as far as the functionality, as far as the inner functioning of the immune system is imperative. That means the immune system, how the immune system work, how we harmonize the immune system instead of fighting with the immune system, how to let our immune system become optimized. That's also important, because as I mentioned many times, since I was a child, I had an immune system deficiency, and my family had a similar problem. I have a lot of immunology problems, endocrine problems, and neuronal problems, infections, and that need immune system regulation, immune system harmonization. So from along the way, I never been to hospitals or use chemicals or use any modality of the medical system because I was too poor to use any of that. You can even put a drop of salt into the water, become a luxury, not to mention any medical means. So I eat mud, and I got sick. What are you going to do? So you have to let your body take care of it. Along the years, I learned how to regulate, how to harmonize, how to optimize my immune system, my body and mind connection, that communication, that reorganization, reprogramming is so important. So number one, what I did is calm down, silent, rest. The rest is not just sleep there, without talking. What I say here is about quiet the mind, silence the mind, to learn about yourself internally, not only the physically, but also the mentally, to see your stories, to see the thoughts, to see the emotions, to see the pains and agonies, to see the stories you want to go through, the anxiousness, the depressionism, and all that are important part of the inner observation. From the inner observation, and I might reorganize, I might make adjustment, I might raise up. Today we as Mary, Fred, and Schumann, and found out that the genetic, and we have Fox P3 and track the T cell and regulation. So we are instead of attack ourselves as the immune system become chaos, out of the organization, out of order, and then we have ourselves, our own cells, to regulate our immune system. When we talk about the regulation, we cannot talk regulation without talk about our fight and flight. That means and calmness. So when I was doing my research in 1980s, as a graduate student at medical school, and then also the physiological, the exercise physiological department, the exercise physiology department, the sports medicine department. So I found out And according to my research, from so many papers, thousands of papers I read, from cancer to diabetes, from just a simple blood pressure to heart attack, and to immune problems. And I found out Qi Gong and really can help. Meditation can help, and breathing can help to regulate and our system. And then I did this hypothesis, how that breath, how that meditation, how that Qi Gong, how that Tai Chi, and then to get body into harmony, into deeper meditation, that bring the body-mind into a state that is in silence, that is in inner communication, that is in a state that the body begins to heal itself, to communicate, to understand each other, or the cells to understand each other. The brain cells, the neuron transmission, the synapses, and then the endocrine system, and then all work together with all the whole body, 50 trillion cells to 100 trillion cells. They all communicate together to understand each other, to call each other. What is the problem? And then when they coordinate together, to harmonize together, when they talk to each other, to have a dialogue, and the inner healing started. That's beautiful. And of course, I use that analysis to give that hypothesis. That means the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system, they become more harmonized, more balanced. That homeostasis state. The fight-flight, that kind of mode is gone. When that is happening, the body is more in regulation, in adjustment, in harmonization, in homeostasis. And then the inner health, inner healing started. And the chaos is gone. The chaos because the chaotic frequency of the energy. And everything is in total chaos. There was no order. There was nothing but chaos. When we do that meditation, when we do that high silence, when we become quiet, all the cells become quiet, they begin to open up. They begin to communicate. They begin to calm down. They have less chaos. The entropy, the increasing entropy stopped and become less and less entropy. That's precisely what Schrödinger found out, as I found out from my experiment. When in that state, you have less entropy, or reverse the entropy even. That's how life is. If you put an egg, bung on the ground, throw over there, the entropy is getting worse. It never return. But a human being is different. We're alive. The AI never be able to do that. AI, you break the AI, you take off the power, the AI is not going to function. But a human being is different. Human being has self-battery. Human beings have self-regulation. Human beings can lighten themselves. Human beings is alive to change. That 50 trillion cells is moving, is always moving, always in motion, always in exchange, always alive. You have maybe 3 million cells die each minute, but you have another 3 million cells give birth. The birth of 3 million, and then the 3 million cells, when you give new information, when you express in different ways, in harmonies, in a harmonized way, in a coherent way, and all the cells in resonance, you find yourself have more energy. Why? Because you have less thoughts, less chaos, less self-destruction, less entropy, and then your body begin to harmonize each other, and then they begin to talk to each other, and all the cells begin to open. they happily exchange, happily communicate, happily to open themselves. And you feel that vitality. You feel you are alive, fresh. Instead of live like a shell, live like a zombie, and live without consciousness, and running by the subconsciousness, running by the old conditioned mind, by the old conditioned diseased state, running by the old family's genetic imprint, automatically express. So you change. Each minute you have 3 million cells birth, and then you give new information. Today we begin to understand. But when I did 50 years ago, I didn't have that understanding. I just know the body began to open, and the vitality returned, and the energy up, and you feel that happiness, that fresh, that really, really energy, just energy. Disease is energy is just like one of my students who is a physician. When you're a physician, you barely live, you barely survive, you barely and wake to treat your patients. You do surgeries, terrible surgeries, and you talk to people, terrible the influence to the patients. And this doctor, and had family reasons, marriage reasons, all kinds of reasons, and totally depressed. And she had devastation effect on her own health. When you have to go to work. She's just like a zombie. She said, "Well, I was working on a zombie, like a zombie. The doctors, other doctors, they didn't want to talk to them. And then her patients, waiting in line, she's irritated. She worried about her own life, worried about her own health, worried about her own, that stuffiness, worried about her own thoughts, the emotions, the chaos, the pains, the sufferings, just so much." The fears, the horrors within. How can you treat a patient and yourself in that state? And she has real problems with her patients. I remember one time, this is like 2 months in a row when we do some breathing, okay, 999 med breath. She was on the first group I did in China, but she has to go to hospital to work, even though at that time there's COVID, but she didn't have a choice, and doctors got to be at the front. You understand? Her health is already in decline. She has to deal with this or COVID, all kind of things, and as a physician, and she just totally feel the fear. And when we did for 2 months on the road, when she drove, she called me from WeChat. Because she was in a light. She just instantly, she never thought she would call me. She said, "I'm so sorry I called you. I just want to know, is this real? Is this normal? I feel happy. I feel the joy. What's happening? Because I always feel stuffed. I feel terrible. I feel the fear. I feel all the kind of chaos. I feel the pain. I feel, always feel these sufferings, these sorrows, these pains for myself. Even when I see my patients, I feel sorry for them. I'm more sorry for myself. And when people have that suffering, I have that more connection. And then they look like me. I'm terrible. But today, I don't know why. These 2 days, especially today, I just get out of hospital. I normally, when I see all these patients, I usually feel terrible, exhausted. But today I drove, I don't know why. I feel happy, I feel joy. Is that normal? Because she's never felt that before. And of course I explained to her, why I do, from my point of view, from my experience. She finally accepts that joy moment. That's something, people you can see as a doctor, a physician, a chief physician of the department, and then you feel terrible for years. Is that normal? And she took that as normal. That suffering is normal. That pain is normal. That sorrow is normal. That conditioned mind is normal. That depression is normal. That stuffiness is normal. That, like she said, as in her own word, like a dead fish. Without a soul, without consciousness, that's normal. So when you get out of that, you still feel you're flying. Is that normal? I'm flying. I feel happy. My spirit is up. Think about it. This is a physician. I talked about her and another physician, also chief physician of a professor of the medical school. This is Western Medical School, and this is a chief physician. This is also department chair, and she told me 15 years she fight with the political, reasons. She fought and for her own son, and the justice or injustice, whatever it is, and she was exhausted. She was so depressed. She never felt alive. She didn't feel pain even, because she's numb, totally numb, dumb. Think about it. For 15 years, you still see patients. You still talk to your doctors. You still go to, to see all the patients who are dying. And then you tell your doctors what to do. And you go with the mechanical things. That's why people think they are mechanical beings, because you mechanically operate that way. You never think you're alive. You never think you have a person of a soul. You have a person with high consciousness. You never think you're a person with a conscious intelligence, the wisdom that the inner compassion. You lost the soul. I remember 2 years ago, she told me, 师父, I've got to tell you, I lived all these 15 years like a zombie. Yes, I feel bad for my patients. I feel bad for my doctors. I feel bad for my students at medical school, because I just go to the mechanical things. I feel bad for the surgeries, but I had to do it. But I tried as best I can, and mechanically, but I don't have a soul. But today is different. The first time I feel pain. First time I feel something sense, because I didn't have pain anymore. I even did acupuncture. I just want to see if I have a pain. But in the past, I didn't do acupuncture anymore because sometimes the acupuncture helps you to relieve pain. But I don't feel pain because I'm numb. And then suddenly I wake up. I wake up my senses. I wake up myself just through this breathing. 5 months later, and she told me again. I couldn't believe it. My department and a lot of my physician friends didn't think that's what happened, but I didn't do anything different. It's the breathing, really, oxygenation, that calmness, that meditation, that deep fathom, deep meditation, deep mind. Really relax myself and really get out of that chaos, get out of the numbness, get out of that entropy, diseased state, that depression, so to speak. And her lungs and her enlarged heart, everything, all that disease state is gone. Much more improved, if not completely gone. I couldn't believe it. Because nobody can treat it. According to our medical procedures. We have new medical procedures, and I can do surgeries, but it hasn't come out. The new medical, treatment hasn't come out. There's a possibilities, but I'm healed. Another told her it's a conscious healing, because she never believed this sort of thing, because she's too into medical, physical, and molecular. So that changed the people's mind forever. The other doctor where I talk about, she said, patients outside, even before they see me, they begin to talk to me, they become better. Why? The energy penetrate, the vibration. See, I feel good because I got this year since I was with you, and we begin to meditate. Every week I get a big banner. The banner, people give the banner. Why? Because they thank you banner, grateful banner, the gratitude banner for her treating, the patient. But why? Because I was engaged. I didn't want these banners, but they're grateful. I'm grateful. I see patients differently. And she mentioned this girl who's depressed. She said, I'm just a medical doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. But this girl has health problems, headaches, has a lot of other issues. But the most important is depression. She doesn't refuse to see anybody. She didn't want to go to school. And after I talked to her, I didn't give her much medicine. I just give her something like give her counseling. I'm not a counselor. I'm a medical doctor. But I talked to her. I give her a little bit of pain medicine, and she didn't even take it. And the next time, she's willing to come over to see me. Why? Because she on her mask. Anywhere she goes, she was on her mask. She never wanted anybody to see her face. But now she willing to take her mask off. And she totally changed. She said, I changed her life. Because my energy is up. I'm opening. And then other people begin to open. Because the inner influence, inner connection. And that's what I told her. And then she began to do much better. She just sent me, a few days ago, she just sent me so many. There was like 30 banners people sent her. As a lot of people thank her. She got the year of the last. She got 180 banners the whole year. The whole district, all the doctors, she got most banners because for thank you. People just want to thank you. I guess it's a tradition. The Chinese people, they go, make big banners to thank you for help them physically and mentally. So that's very important. A doctor, a physician, to release the people out of pain, out of sufferings. And the people feel that. And she really enjoyed that. And she say, before she did this med breath, before the consciousness meditation, and she never felt that way. Disconnected. But in the meantime, when you get into that, not only her energy vibration is higher, and her homeostasis is better, and her harmonize herself in her own immune system. She had immune system problems, her enlarged heart, and then her lung problems. And the other lady has both of them had depression. All that eliminated. But at the same time, the energy rises above. The immune system will become much better. And the less disease, they get sick. And they didn't themselves get better. Also their energy, their consciousness energy. And they're really interconnected and influence others. That's what I see, that is such a big connection with our consciousness, with our energy frequency, with our immune system, with our T cells, with our Fox P3. That's what people just got Nobel Prize. What I just talked about Mary, Fred, and Shimon. So this is they just identified, but this thing has been all these cells, all these genetics have been in our lives forever. Since we built up from the single cells. But we forgot, because for the last few thousand years, especially the last 100 years, we are so involved, so dived in. What? Molecular biology. Biology is nothing wrong, but it's too limited. We are so engaged with the departments, drug department, and neuro department, and physiological department, and the cancer department, and a circulatory department, and we have so many departments. We totally divide ourselves. We're so total partial. Seldom you see some people see the holistic body, the holistic mind, the totality of the body, totality of the mind, the wholeness of the human being, the wholeness of the universe, the wholeness of life, our conditions, our environment, and everything that interconnection, that relationship, that interconnection. We don't see any of that because we totally focus on the appearance of that material appearance, that division, that scarcity. If we got sick, we're in horror, and we see sick the doctors. Doctors see and looking for the medical books and totally divided. Knowledge-based, the old knowledge-based, the old idea-based. And when quantum physics is already here, and people still use the old Newtonian ideas, the mechanical ideas, the molecular ideology ideas, and then the particle ideas, seldom see energy. Well, energy. Quantum physics said clearly, what is quantum? Patch of energy. That's all it is about. And it's just as Max Planck said clearly, E equals hv. We don't see that. And of course, and you have Albert Einstein devised after that, got another formula, E equals mc squared. So all that, we don't see that. We don't see that particle, John Wheeler particle wave is the same thing. And one electrons, one mind, as Schrodinger, promoted for many years of his life. And just like Niels Bohr, promoted, particle wave is like yin and yang, complementary. It's the same thing. So we still devote ourselves in the particle theory, in the appearance, in the symptoms. We forgot the root of it. Just like one of my friends who quit as a neurophysician. Why? Because all these years promise. He fed up with it. He feel his life is wasted. Just symptoms. And from Harvard to MIT, it's the same thing. 20 years practice, he just quit. People refuse to change. Over here, what I say, if we can reticent with each other, coherent with each other, and to listen to each other, to have the connection with each other, with the nature, with our energy, connect with the cosmic energy, cosmic consciousness, return to connect to, which we never ever separate, but we cut ourselves. We build ourselves with the brain thinking, with the thoughts, with the conditioned mind, with the old wrong knowledge, the falsified ideas. We lost our connection with the quantum consciousness field, our infinite potentiality. We don't see anymore because we so much shallow vision to see that little tiny thing. Just like today, I was looking for my cell phone. I was looking everywhere. The cell phone right in front of me, because I don't expect it to right in front of me. And then Natalie told me, we all have the same situation. We just see the appearance. That cell phone is right over there by the pillow. And then we take one pillow out, they exposed the cell phone. But the little behind we don't even see. Not to see deeper, even deeper of the consciousness, deeper of the energy frequency. We don't. So, silent, calm down, meditate, and do some breathing, simple breathing, to open the mind, to empty our old thoughts, to empty old beliefs, to empty old attachments, to empty old conditioned chaos, dissipate our life. When that less dissipation happens, when the great void of that life chaos, disease, and we express ourselves in a new way, and we call epigenetics. We change our lives, we change our genes, we change our DNA expression, we change our state from the old conditioned, old operation, old programming to a new condition, new state. We get rid of the old habits, old ideas, old genetics imprint. We begin to build a new one with a new system, new antenna, new perception. A new life is in the writing, a new story exposed. We always think everything is objective. There's no such thing as objective life, as we thought. Everything is subjective according to our own old thing. If that is the case, from quantum physics, from everything, from neuroscience, we have a frontier, cognitive science. Many of my friends, they see that. This world is not as objective as we thought. There's no such thing as eyes. When you see with your eyes, they become real. No, that's total fallacy. When we see that, this is the interface of space-time. When we change the interface, when we change our thoughts, change our ideas, change our conscious antenna, and we see totally different ideas, totally different world, totally different vision, much farther, much deeper, much more inside our life. We changed everything. We changed this world from scarcity, material only, greed, division, disease, to health, to harmony, to happiness, to coherence, to ecological coherence. Why not? Instead of self-destruction, destroy ourselves. Get ourselves sicker and sicker. And our telomere becomes smaller and smaller. Now we can increase the telomere by deeper meditation, by unloading these attachments, by the silence. Why not? You want to get disease? You want to come to health? You want to self-health? Or you want to just other people, doctors, cut you, and then you want to get all the medicines, and you feel you get one side effect with another side effect. It's up to you which one you do. So I promote, I propagate, I want to call for new paradigm, which is self-health, which is wellness, which is future medicine, self-health, self-care. That's real self-care. Today we see it's all disease care. Is that right? Hospital disease, treat disease. They say, well, you're well, I'm going to cure you. No, they don't. So the best health, best way to treat yourself is the self-wellness, self-healing, inner healing, conscious healing, and then definitely self-health. That's what I call superior medicine, superior physician, and then cosmic medicine, cosmic physician, cosmic consciousness. That's what it is. That's the future. We're all together built, but we all have to change. We all have to transform. We all have to dive into a new realm of new OS. Reprogram ourselves. That's the Kung Fu. Kung Fu, that is the reprogramming into a new OS. Let's do it together. Yes, the conference is over, but the conference, the ripples of the consciousness continues with another one. So let's do together, connect together, and let's build our great health and a great mind and transcend and connect. That's how it is. LQC, quantum leap in our consciousness. Thank you.